This is the Red Wing Heritage Mock Toe Style 1907, made of nubuck leather, first manufactured in 1952. When you first put it on, it feels like a torture device. It feels like it's made out of solid steel. Once you've worn them hard for 15 hours or so, they mold to your feet, and then you can pretty much sleep in them. They require a lot of care. You brush them every day to get the dust and dirt off of them so they don't dry out, and every month or two, you'll apply some leather conditioner to make sure further that the leather doesn't dry out. Crafting these boots and taking care of them require care and time and effort, which is something our culture is running from like a disease. The shift from full-length feature films to 20-second short videos. Why spend 2 hours watching a beautifully crafted film when you could watch the same dance trend 37 times in a row? The shift from quality healthy foods to garbage pre-digested slop. But why should you care? Isn't this efficiency? Isn't this progress? Aren't we just adapting? I mean, sure, our clothes are falling apart, and our food is hardly food, and our attention span is barely better than a small fish. But at least we get everything instantly, right? Ask yourself, how many things in your life do you have that are worth passing down? How many things do you truly care about? I have a nerdy syllogism to prove to you why the quality of our things affects the quality of our soul. Okay, class is in session. Premise 1, we are shaped by our relationships with things and experiences we consume. Premise 2, the quality of an object or experience, whether good or bad, influences the quality of our relationship with it. And premise 3, or the conclusion, the shift towards cheap short-form content, fast fashion, and mass production doesn't just make the things themselves worse, it makes us worse too. So the quality of the things that we interact with, whether good or bad, directly influences the quality of ourselves. This is why craftsmanship is so important. This is fantastic news for us who spend 4 hours a day watching people crush kinetic sand and cut soap. So anyways, what does this have to do with soap? Everything I described about the mass manufacturing applies to the soap industry too. And I realized it one day when I forgot my lotion on a trip and I used some body wash, and the next morning I woke up feeling like a reptile with like scaly skin. It was disgusting. Eventually I found out that some of the ingredients in soap were actually hormone disruptors and were extremely bad for your health. So that's when I figured I should probably do something to solve the problem. So I started experimenting with fats. You have to use them in very specific proportions to yield the specific properties you want. It needs to be long lasting and moisturizing, it needs to lather well, and it needs to look nice. This particular one uses lard, coconut oil, cocoa butter, shea butter, castor oil, hazelnut oil, and olive oil. You stir all these fats together over low heat and they eventually melt, and then you add a lye water solution to create long fatty chains, eventually turning the fat and lye into soap. This is a process called saponification, and this is precisely how our ancestors used to make soap. No chemicals, no parabens, no dyes, no fragrances, no nothing. You pour this solution into a mold and let it cure. You take it out after 24 hours, you cut them into bars, and then you let the whole thing sit for an entire month before you can even use it. So why do I even bother doing this? Well, I started because the soap that was sold in our stores, I realized, was actively harming us. I mean, in some sense, like I showed here, everything that we interact with affects the quality of our life, but the soap I was using was directly, actively making the skin on my body worse. And that's just something I cannot sit with and let happen. The process that I used to make soap is one that's been refined and passed down for millennia. Like, ancient Babylon used to make soap like this, and I don't know why we departed from it. Engaging in the difficulty of a practice like this makes you appreciate the craftsmanship behind the things that you use. For some reason, our culture has made us believe that things that are hard and take effort are not worth it. And we've been conditioned to believe that the best things are just the easiest things. But maybe we've got it backwards. Maybe what makes something worth using, what makes something valuable, is the time and the care and the effort that was placed into making something like it. Shameless plug for my own soap company. I started Higher Bar to bring back the lost art of making something well for the sake of making it well. If that's something you care about too, I'll have a link in the description where you can join the waitlist for this next batch that I'm still making. But really, this video is not about soap, it's not about boots, it's not about any of that. It's about how we choose to live. It's about curating the things that we interact with in an effort to curate the quality of our souls. The things you own aren't just things, they shape you directly. Choose wisely.